Hocus Pocus versus Hocus Pocus 2. For those who haven't seen the sequel, even though it's Halloween now, there will be spoilers. Round 1 backstory scene. In the first one, it starts off with a boy named Zachary trying to save his little sister Emily from witches. For those who've seen it the first time ever, I guess this is one of those beginnings where you think he'll be able to save his little sister, only for it to reveal that he failed and the witches succeeded. Luckily though, they wouldn't be able to do that to another child for another 300 years. Like I said, this is one of those beginnings where you might be wrong of what happens. And in the sequel, you got a young Winifred who's angry because she got to marry someone she doesn't want to marry. And when she declines to the whole village, the mayor tries to take her sisters away, but they run off into the woods where they discover they are witches. This past story was okay and it was nice to see what they were like as kids, but I preferred the first one. And in the first one, like I mentioned, it was a surprise to some people that he failed to save his sister. So the winner for this round is the first Hocus Pocus. Round 2 plot. In the first one, Max is forced to take his little sister Danny trick-or-treating, and eager to impress his crush Alison, they go to the witch's house and he lights the black flame candle, and they spend the night trying to solve the little problem he created. This is a fun, nice plot. Just make sure if you go trick-or-treating you don't light any candle that could have a black flame. And in the sequel you got a sort of similar plot with some changes where two girls called Becca and Izzy go into the woods for a birthday ritual thing and end up lighting a black flame candle. But unlike the first one, instead of trying to suck the life force out of children, the witches try to make themselves more powerful. This plot was alright, but I preferred the plot to the first movie. So again, winner is Hocus Pocus. Round 3 characters. In the first one you got Max, the virgin who lit the candle, plus isn't all into Halloween unlike everyone else. His little sister Danny, who unlike him loves Halloween. His crush Alison, who knows all about witches. Zachary Biggs, the boy who failed to save his sister and was cursed to live forever as a cat. As a talking cat, he's my favourite character in the film. And finally you got the stars of the show, the sisters Winifred, Mary and Sarah, the witches who want to take the lives of children so they can live young for eternity. These characters are quite nice and memorable. In the sequel you got the three girls, Becca, Izzy and Cassie. The shop owner Gilbert, who was both partly responsible and a fool for bringing the witches back. Cassie's dad and the mayor Trask. I like how the dude's played by Tony Hall, the same guy who voiced Forky in Toy Story 4. And finally, again of course, the witches. And after 29 years, it's impressive that the actresses were able to slip back into their roles. The characters in the original are probably more memorable, but the witches are still fun in the sequel and I like the mayor. So this time the winner's a tie, especially since I thought the sequel needed a win. Round 4 songs. In the first one you got songs like I Put a Spell on You, which for those that don't know almost wasn't in the movie. And the creepy beautiful siren Come Little Children. These songs are quite good and memorable. And in the sequel you got One Way or Another, which I thought was quite nice too. I did think the crowd got hypnotised pretty quickly to this one though. And when the witches come back they randomly sing The Witches Are Back. Pretty random time to sing, but it was a nice song too. The first songs are memorable, but I like both of them, even if one in the sequel is completely out of nowhere. So once again, the winner's a tie. Round 5, Fear Factor. Just to let everyone know, both of these movies didn't scare me, but I'll still be talking about what movie had the scarier moments. In the beginning, like I mentioned, you've got Emily's life being taken by witches, and when the witches come back, that's a tiny bit creepy. And apart from the scares the movie brings you, you also got jokes that would definitely go over kids' heads. And at the beginning, there's also a brief hanging scene. And in the sequel, nothing in it is exactly scary. The only scene I thought of as creepy was when the witches were coming back. I'm sure it would make your spine crawl if you were all alone in the woods at midnight and heard "Come Little Children" out of nowhere. Also, this film is more family friendly than the first. So yeah, apart from that scene, nothing in this film is exactly scary. To be fair though, like I mentioned, neither of these films scared me. So even though I wasn't scared by either of them, the winner is the first Hocus Pocus. And as the score adds up, the overall winner is the first one. Don't get me wrong, I like the sequel, I just prefer the first one a bit more. The end. Hope you all enjoyed and have a spooky day.